I had been searching for my missing girlfriend for 2 whole months but had no news of her. Just when I thought Victoria had tragically passed away, I saw her in a bar. She was coyly snuggling in Ethan's arms and said, "Going missing was just an act. A woman has to play hard to get so the man will love her more." I had my best friend Emily cover for me. That fool didn't suspect a thing. I smirked and turned to leave. When I got home, Emily, her best friend, hugged me and innocently asked, "Did you hear any news about Victoria today?" The next second, I picked her up and threw her onto the bed. "I think my girlfriend is really dead this time. You need to comfort me," I said. In the second month of Victoria's disappearance, I unexpectedly saw her again. She was with friends, still as arrogant as ever. One of her friends said, "Victoria, since you disappeared, we rarely get to see you." Victoria frowned and complained, "It's not my fault. Sincere is so annoying, always controlling me and never letting me go out at night. He needs to be taught a lesson." Her friend asked, "How did you come up with the idea of going missing?" The man next to Victoria laughed and said, "I taught her. If it weren't for me, she'd be stuck with that guy forever." Victoria giggled and said, Yes, all thanks to Ethan." I recognized the man, Ethan, her childhood friend. Her friend asked, "But isn't this too much? Won't Sincere suspect something?" Victoria replied, "I had Emily cover for me. There won't be any problems." Everyone understood and said, "No wonder. With Emily's help, he won't suspect a thing." Ethan sneered, "It's just because Sincere is an idiot." I waited for Victoria to say something, but all I heard was her putting me down. She said to Ethan, "Exactly. He's nowhere near as smart and capable as you." Everyone laughed and seemed used to this. One friend said, "Ethan, why don't you date Victoria? Why let her have a boyfriend?" Ethan replied, "I don't date people in my circle." Victoria scoffed, "I wouldn't be interested in you either." They insulted each other, but under the table their legs brushed against each other. After some small talk, someone asked, "Being missing forever isn't a solution. Victoria, when do you plan to come back?" She replied, "Let's wait and see. When Sincere goes crazy looking for me, I'll come back." That day I was supposed to file a police report, but I changed my mind. I treated myself to some barbecue and spent the afternoon at a board game cafe. When I got home, it was already evening. The lights were off, and I thought Emily had left. Just as I took off my coat, a pair of slender hands wrapped around my waist from behind. I felt a dampness on my back and stiffened. "Are you crying?" I asked. Emily sobbed and said, "Where have you been today? Why didn't you answer my calls?" I pinched the bridge of my nose and apologized. "Sorry, I didn't check my phone." She asked, "Did you find any clues about Victoria?" I sighed, "No." My tone was full of regret. Emily hugged me tighter, the dampness growing. She cried, "It's all my fault. If I hadn't dragged her to go hiking that day, she wouldn't have gone missing." She seemed genuinely remorseful. If she hadn't leaned in to kiss me, I might have believed her. Emily was Victoria's best friend. After Victoria went missing, they worked together, one in the open and one in the dark. Emily played the remorseful role. But Victoria didn't know that her friend's way of atoning was quite unique. Emily was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. Her family background was even better than Victoria's. In public, she was aloof and unattainable. That's what I thought, too. We rarely talked privately. After college, I found a job, and it turned out to be at one of Emily's family businesses. Emily became Miss Emily, and our distance grew. We got closer a month ago when I suddenly received the news of Victoria's disappearance. I thought something terrible had happened to her, and was devastated for a while. Emily, feeling guilty as the instigator, came to apologize, crying her heart out. Later, she seemed to feel really bad and insisted on cooking 3 meals a day for me. The most ridiculous part was when she started cleaning my house every day. I said, "Emily, this isn't your fault. Even if you hadn't invited her, she had already planned to go. It's an accident. No one wanted it to happen. I can't blame you for inviting her to dinner. And then she got food poisoning. You couldn't have known. Her parents haven't blamed you, so I won't either. You should focus on your work. I don't need you here." But the next second, I yelled, "Put that down!" I rushed over and snatched my underwear from her hands. "I'll wash these myself." I said. Emily seriously replied, "I can wash them cleaner. Are you sure you don't want my help?" "No need," I said, too embarrassed to notice her hand secretly moving behind her back. How did I discover Emily's other side? One night I woke up to use the bathroom and found Emily still in my house. I was going to ask her why when I saw through the crack in the door. Emily was lying silently, tightly holding my shirt to her nose and sniffing it. One hand was hidden behind the cabinet, and the dim light cast a soft glow on her fair skin. Tiny beads of sweat appeared on her neck. I was stunned by the scene and accidentally made a noise. Emily quickly looked back, biting her lip and making an indescribable sound. I discovered Emily's secret, and we couldn't hold back our relationship any longer. I knew I should walk away, but seeing the scene, I couldn't control myself. Maybe it was because, during the painful time of Victoria's disappearance, only Emily was there, silently staying by my side. Or maybe it was because I had long suspected that Victoria's disappearance was a sham. How could a daughter go missing and her parents not report it to the police but stop me from doing so? How could her close friends continue to party without any reaction after she went missing? These doubts were confirmed today. They had all conspired to put on an act for me. Even Emily was an important part of it. Back to the present, Emily still clung to me. I tiredly asked, "Have you made dinner? I'm hungry." She wiped away her tears and sweetly replied, "Yes, I made all your favorites." I nodded. "Go heat it up." She responded, "Okay." Emily immediately went to heat up dinner. She didn't seem to mind my commanding tone. After dinner, I threw my shirt at her and said, "Go wash this." Emily paused and asked, "Can I really?" I replied, "Yes, I'm too tired to do it myself today." She happily took the shirt and went into the bathroom. I knew she wouldn't come out for at least 20 minutes. With Emily occupied, I unlocked her forgotten phone on the table. Sure enough, Victoria had created a new WeChat account and kept in touch with them. In the early days, Victoria would ask about me. "How was Sincere?" she asked. Emily replied, "He was sad for a long time today and couldn't eat." Victoria responded, "It's okay. He's always like that. When he's busy or stressed, he can't eat, which is why his stomach is so bad. Ignore him." Emily asked, "When will this farce end?" Victoria replied with a question mark. Emily wrote, "If you don't like him, break up. Why torture him?" Victoria answered, "I don't dislike him. I just think he's too controlling. He won't let me go to the bar at night. Ethan is right. Girls need to be a bit dramatic to be appreciated. Let Sincere suffer a bit, and he'll learn to treat me better." Emily didn't respond. Suddenly, a group chat caught my eye. The group name was Master Ethan and his 3 maids. Ethan said, "Sincere is completely out of it these days. Yesterday, he messed up the materials at work and got scolded by the boss. His colleagues saw it too." Catmaid Victoria replied, "That's terrible." Ethan responded, "Victoria, see how effective my plan is? Make sure you keep him under control. Can you join me for a drink tonight? Just the 2 of us. Dare you?" This was a group chat of Victoria and Ethan's close friends. There were 4 girls in the group, with 3 using maid nicknames. The other one, using her real name, was Emily. I recalled Victoria mentioning that Emily joined their group later, possibly because of business ties between their families. Emily rarely spoke in the group. It was mostly Victoria and Ethan. Catmaid Victoria teased, "You're so naughty making such jokes. People might misunderstand us. Haven't we had enough drinks together?" Ethan responded, "Speaking of which, it makes me laugh. What relationship do we have? We've been close since childhood. What does he count for? A small-minded guy trying to control you." Victoria replied with a cat begging emoji, "Yes, yes, Ethan is the best. I'll listen to you." Ethan responded, "No problem, leave it to me." I felt nauseated. Scrolling up, I saw they chatted almost daily, flirting. Even the gifts I gave her on Valentine's Day, like a phone and headphones she gave to Ethan. New messages popped up. Victoria privately messaged Emily. I remembered something. To avoid suspicion from the tone, I'll just use a question mark. I sent a question mark. Victoria asked, 2 months ago, on Ethan's birthday night, I was drunk and stayed over at Ethan's place. Don't let it slip. Remember, I was with you that night. I slowly typed, what happened that night? Victoria replied, didn't we agree not to mention it? Ethan and I both pretend nothing happened. Otherwise, how can we stay friends? Emily came out of the bathroom, the shirt clean. She looked calm, though her cheeks were still red. I smiled at her. Not bad. Emily shyly looked at me without speaking. Though I had discovered her secret and kissed her, we hadn't gone further. I looked at her. Emily had a slim waist, graceful curves, and perfect proportions. Her delicate features, with almond eyes and fine eyebrows, made her look far superior to Victoria. I nodded. You might need to wash your dress later, she asked. What? Emily looked at me, not understanding. I already picked her up and sighed. Emily, Victoria might really be gone. Stay with me tonight, okay? After that night, whenever I sent a question mark message, Emily would come. We had a special connection, more than I had with Victoria. Emily, having trained in dance and yoga, was even better than Victoria in terms of experience and enjoyment. Besides, their figures and appearances were on completely different levels. I started to regret not taking that step sooner. Why waste time on someone like Victoria? Emily didn't notice anything was wrong because I deleted that chat. Whenever I had the chance, I would check her phone to see the group chat. In the past few days, I stopped searching for clues about Victoria. Victoria got anxious and tagged everyone in the group, asking, what's going on? Why did Sincere suddenly stop looking for me? Bunny Girl said in a voice message, Victoria, don't worry, maybe he's just tired. Victoria replied, impossible. No matter how tired or busy he is, Sincere always looks for me. Should I go back? Ethan said, hold on, keep him waiting a bit longer. If you go back now, it will ruin everything. Victoria said, no, I must go back tomorrow. Ethan replied, Victoria, are you stupid? After all my hard work planning this, you're not following through? He's probably heard something and is trying to force you out. Watch how I deal with him. Victoria hesitated but eventually complied. She replied, okay, I'll listen to you. Despite her words, Victoria was still worried. That night, she secretly called Emily. When the call came in, Emily was in a compromising position with me, straddling me. It showed as an unknown caller. She was about to hang up when I said, answer it, it'll be fun. I pressed the answer button and put the phone to Emily's ear. Victoria said, Emily, I'm worried. What's going on with Sincere lately? Thinking I couldn't hear, Emily, flushed, replied, he's doing great. Victoria sounded surprised. Emily, what's wrong with your voice? What are you doing? Is there a man with you? Emily, struggling, asked, how did you know? Victoria laughed, I can tell. You sound happy. Am I interrupting? Before Victoria could finish, I suddenly spoke. Are you done? Focus. There was silence on the other end. Then Victoria's trembling voice asked, Emily, who are you with now? Emily snapped out of it and quickly lowered the phone volume, her voice returning to its usual cold tone. She said, someone you don't know. Victoria asked, but why does it sound like Sincere? I continued what I was doing without a change in expression. Emily bit her lip and said, you misheard, I'm busy, don't disturb me. She ended the call and hugged me tightly, sweetly saying, keep going, I'll be focused now. I laughed. No, let's stop. Aren't you afraid Victoria will come rushing over? Emily froze. I continued, she's probably hiding in that suburban house. It's only half an hour away by taxi. She asked, you heard that? I replied, honestly, I've even seen her. Emily looked panicked and took a while to recover. She asked, so you knew she wasn't really missing? I nodded, yes. She asked, aren't you angry? I said I was, but I quickly got over it. Being angry with her is just torturing myself. The day I saw Victoria, I didn't confront her. I didn't explode or question her reasons for deceiving me. She's already so rotten, expecting anything good from her is pointless. I looked at Emily and asked, what about you? Don't you have anything to say? Emily was the only one in their group who had opposed the fake disappearance plan. I was curious about what drove her to eventually agree to help. She lowered her head and said, I owed her a favor. Emily seemed to have lifted a heavy burden and began to tell me everything. She said, Victoria helped me a lot. She morally blackmailed me into helping her. But no matter what, I shouldn't have deceived you. I'm sorry. Sincere. I waved it off. Don't apologize. I'm actually grateful you were part of this act. She asked. What do you mean? I grabbed Emily's chin and smiled. Do you want to betray them and become my accomplice? As I expected, Victoria couldn't be at ease and came herself. At 1 a.m, she snuck into my house. This house was rented and she could unlock it with her fingerprint. I pretended to be deeply asleep. The bed was clean, with no women's items in the bedroom. I even left tissues and a photo of us on the nightstand to appear sentimental. Victoria felt assured but didn't know I was pretending. After she left, she went to see Emily. They met at a convenience store. Victoria said, I'm sorry, Emily. I misunderstood you earlier. Emily smiled faintly and said, It's okay. Victoria asked, Where's your boyfriend? Emily replied, He was tired and went to sleep. Victoria blinked and said, His voice sounded like Sincere's. Next time, you must introduce him to me. Emily evaded the question. Victoria looked a bit worn out. She said, Emily, do you think I should go back? Emily asked, Why do you think so? Victoria replied, I haven't been sleeping well lately. Victoria took a sip of alcohol, her nose and eyes red. She sniffled and said, Being around Sincere felt controlling. Now that I have my freedom, I can't get used to it. I've had several sleepless nights. I heard Sincere hasn't been looking for me this week. I'm afraid I've pushed him away. Emily comforted her. Don't worry, he hasn't given up on you. He even planned to file a report recently. Victoria quickly said, No, if he reports it, our act will be exposed. Emily replied, I know, I stopped him. He's been a bit sick this week and hasn't had time. Victoria asked, Is he okay? Emily said, Just a cold, nothing serious. Victoria's eyes welled up. I regret making Sincere suffer so much. Emily gently said, Don't talk like that. Think about how he used to restrict your freedom, not allowing you to go to bars or have male friends. This time, you need to show him who's in charge at home. Victoria bit her lip and said, Emily interrupted, Listen to Ethan. Keep him waiting a bit longer. After Victoria left, Emily took her phone from her bag and anxiously asked, How did I do? I looked at the video feed and smiled. Perfect. Follow my instructions and I'll reward you. I had Emily do something simple, keep Victoria calm and continue their disappearance act because I had a big surprise for Victoria. 3 days later, it was a Saturday. I invited many friends over, all old classmates of Victoria and me. The house was decorated with photos of Victoria and a banner with 6 black characters. Victoria's farewell party. Everyone was shocked and asked, Sincere, what's going on? I wore a black suit, looking haggard and sorrowful. I said word by word, Victoria has been missing for over a month. They asked, Why didn't you tell us earlier? I replied, I didn't want to disturb your lives. Her parents didn't allow me to say anything. A friend asked, So what's her status now? I said, She hasn't been found yet. Everyone gasped and started discussing, Oh no, over a month and still no news. Doesn't that mean? I heard the best rescue window is the golden hours. After that, the chances of survival are slim. Listening to their discussions, I immediately put on a look of immense grief, tears streaming down my face. A friend quickly said, Stop it, you're making Sincere even sadder. They had such a good relationship. Sincere must be devastated. They comforted me for a while. An old classmate asked, Did the police have any leads? I shook my head sadly. No, we didn't report it. He asked, Why not? I replied, Her parents didn't agree, saying they wanted to use their own resources to search. He said, I see. With the Liu family being wealthy, they probably wanted to avoid the publicity. Exactly, I said. Liu's parents had respectable, glamorous jobs. Such an incident becoming public wouldn't be good for their image. I wiped away my tears and looked at the phone broadcasting the live stream. I had already informed my friends that some classmates were out of town and couldn't make it, so I started a live stream for them to participate remotely. No one objected, and the viewers were enthusiastic. It's rare to see a farewell party being live streamed. The chat quickly filled with viewers, many not knowing Victoria but still sending condolences or lighting virtual candles. Naturally, it also sparked discussions. A viewer questioned, "How can a daughter go missing and the parents refuse to report it?" Another replied, "Exactly, shouldn't they seek police help first?" I looked it up. The missing person is the Liu family's daughter. Maybe the Liu family has their own rescue team, someone answered. It happened in Yunling Mountain? That can't be right. I live nearby and haven't seen any rescue teams, another commented. I ignored these discussions. The other lead actor in this drama was about to appear. Sure enough, half an hour later, Ethan kicked down my door, tearing down the white cloth and photos. He angrily shouted, "Sincere, what are you doing? Victoria isn't dead. What's all this?" I, with a lifeless expression, looked up in shock and asked, "What did you say?" He replied, "Victoria isn't dead." "You fool." Ethan didn't know everything was being live-streamed, and his every move was recorded. He had arrived so quickly because Emily had informed him. I said, "Ethan, I know you're Victoria's good friend, her confidant, but you don't need to comfort me like this. It's been over a month. I'm mentally prepared." I broke down crying again. The number of viewers kept increasing, and the comments became more lively. "This guy's crazy. Who barges in and scolds the grieving person? I know this guy. He's the heir of Ethan Corporation. Hey, locals. Which neighborhood is this? I want to go support him." Ethan, oblivious to the comments, gritted his teeth and said, "I'm telling you, Victoria isn't dead. Stop these morbid things." I asked, "Where's the proof?" He replied, "I had breakfast with her this morning. She's perfectly fine." The room fell silent. Everyone looked at him strangely. I forced a smile and said, "Ethan, this joke isn't funny." He frowned and said, "Don't believe me. Look at this." Ethan showed a selfie on his phone of him and Victoria having breakfast, both in their pajamas, almost cheek to cheek. Ethan, arms crossed, looked down at me and said, "Sincere, she pretended to disappear because of you. You're too clingy. She couldn't shake you off, so she had to use this trick." I paled, barely able to stand, relying on a friend for support. I said, "You mean she couldn't break up with me and had to fake her death to deceive me?" Ethan sneered, "You can't blame her. Blame yourself. Your parents are just ordinary working-class folks. Why do you think you deserve Victoria? A guy like you was bound to be dumped sooner or later." It was time for the climax. I composed myself and asked, "Ethan, what's your relationship with Victoria?" He replied, "Friends, childhood buddies." I asked, "Really? As her boyfriend, why am I unaware of her situation, but you know everything? Are you two just friends?" Ethan's words had already angered the viewers, leading to discussions. What's wrong with working-class folks? My parents are working class, and my grandparents are farmers. Disgusting, these arrogant rich kids think they're so great. As soon as I finished my question, the comments became even more lively. Human nature loves gossip. Ethan, annoyed, said, "Do you understand childhood friends? We grew up together. Besides her parents, I'm the closest person to her." A friend nearby couldn't take it anymore and said, "You guys have no boundaries. You're just a third wheel disguised as a best friend, openly flirting. Sincere, why are you sad over such a woman? Let me introduce you to someone better." Ethan's performance could come to an end for now. I made an excuse about being tired and sent everyone away, then turned off the live stream. Next up, the leading lady was supposed to appear. Ethan had arrived first because Victoria happened to be on a trip out of town. Thanks to Emily, I had a precise grasp of everyone's movements. Victoria saw the live stream and called me numerous times, sending countless apologetic messages. At 9 p.m., Victoria finally returned to Sea City. Without resting, she hurried to find me, bringing Emily along. As soon as she saw me, Victoria started crying uncontrollably. "Sincere, I didn't mean it. I was just unhappy and agreed to his plan." I smiled at her and asked, "Did you have fun over the past month?" She shook her head. I was miserable. Seeing my impatient expression, Victoria knelt down, clutching my leg, tears streaming down her face. "They said girls need to play hard to get to keep their boyfriends. At first, I just wanted to punish you a bit. But later, I couldn't stop thinking about you every day. She sobbed. I laughed. Thinking about me didn't stop you from having breakfast with another man in your pajamas. Victoria was stunned for a moment. Sincere, I only see Ethan as a friend. If you don't like it, I won't see him again. I replied, I think you two are a perfect match. Victoria quickly shook her head. No, I don't like him at all. He's spoiled, self-centered, and just knows how to play around. He's not someone you can rely on for a lifetime. Who would want to be with him? I like that boy, Sincere. I've always liked you. I waved my hand. Stop it, Victoria. The more you say, the more I think you two are a match. Every little thing not going your way, you throw a fit. You're not capable of anything, always needing others to cater to you. You go clubbing, drinking, smoking all night. Who would rely on someone like you? You're like a broken lock anyone can open. You're just disgusting to me. Get out of my sight. I was both soft and hard. Victoria panicked even more. She quickly turned to Emily for help. Emily, help me persuade Sincere, she begged. Emily asked, Help you? Victoria nodded. Yes, you helped cover for me. You have a responsibility too. Tell him. Emily, indifferent, walked up to me and suddenly tiptoed to kiss me. Sincere, you look so handsome when you're mad, she said. Victoria was completely shattered. She couldn't believe what she saw until I hugged Emily around the waist. Victoria, eyes red with anger, raised her hand to slap Emily. Of course, I couldn't let her succeed. I pushed Victoria away and shielded Emily. Victoria, red-eyed, scolded Emily. I helped you. How can you steal my boyfriend? Emily coldly responded. First of all, Sincere chooses who he likes. If he doesn't like me, I can't steal him. Secondly, you promised that if I helped you, we'd be even. I've done my part. Emily's way of helping was quite special. Victoria angrily said, You can't take advantage of the situation. Don't you think you're a shameless third party? Emily countered. A third party? Yes, I am. Emily smiled, her eyes forming a beautiful curve. Victoria, from the moment you decided to deceive him, I planned to replace you. In the end, I kicked Victoria out and deleted her fingerprint from the lock. She stood downstairs all night in the pouring rain, looking miserable. But I only felt disgust. Thinking of her sleeping with Ethan made me even more nauseous. That night I took Emily to the window. The curtain and lights would cast our silhouette. During an intimate moment, Emily bit my shoulder, eyes peeking through the curtain at Victoria. She looks like she's going crazy, Emily said. I smiled. Let her. Emily trembled slightly. Sincere, I'm so happy. I asked why. She said, I've waited for this day for so long. Victoria did lose her mind. She kept calling and banging on the door. Eventually, I called the police and she finally calmed down. The next morning, the live stream was still trending. Thanks to Ethan, our live stream wasn't initially popular, but his comments about the working class made it viral. Ethan's background and job were all exposed. Ethan's family restaurant was deliberately harassed. Desperate, Ethan came to see Emily. Coincidentally, I was there too. Seeing Ethan's anxious face on the video doorbell, Emily didn't let him in. Instead, she asked me, should I see him? It's up to you. I smiled. Yes, of course. Let's hear what he has to say. She nodded, and I retreated to the bedroom, pretending not to be there. The soundproofing was poor, so I could hear their entire conversation. Ethan, almost in tears, said, Emily, you're the only one who can help me now. Emily barely suppressed an eye roll and asked, How can I help? Ethan said, You can't be serious about dating Sincere. You're the heiress of the Yu family. How could you settle for a nobody like him? Emily coldly asked, What do you mean by nobody? Do you think you're so great? What's wrong with ordinary people? Sincere and I are just ordinary people, Ethan. Haven't you been humiliated enough? Ethan choked, unable to respond, and continued pleading, Just say this was all Sincere's plan to win you over. I'll introduce you to a wealthy guy. Emily sneered, Dream on. Ethan panicked. Aren't we friends? Emily replied, No Sincere, no friendship. What? She asked. Don't you understand? Let me spell it out. I joined your fake little group because of Sincere. Ethan gasped. You mean to say? Emily continued, yes, to find a chance to steal him away. Ethan was shocked. You're crazy. They dated for 2 years. Emily replied, I waited for 2 years too. Emily showed a proud smile. Finally, my efforts paid off. Ethan stammered, so agreeing to cover for Victoria was also. Emily nodded. Yes, ostensibly to repay a favor, but I always had my own plans from the start. Everyone had their own goals in this grand farce. Only Emily hid hers until the end. Ethan turned pale, gritting his teeth. Emily, you're too manipulative, Emily replied. Right back at you. After Ethan left, I crossed my arms and said to Emily, well done, you even fooled me. She pouted. If I didn't, how could I take over? What do you mean? I asked. Emily sighed. On the surface, I was Victoria's best friend. If I'd shown my feelings for you early, you wouldn't have considered me. So, I played the bad guy, seducing you to shift your feelings. I took on the role of the homewrecker. Emily, appearing as a remorseful friend in my life, meticulously took care of me, subtly showcasing her good figure. In secret, she played a one-woman show of female rivalry. I asked, what if your plan failed? Emily gently smiled and said, that's okay. At least I was with you during your lowest point. That's enough. Ethan, with no support, was forced to leave Sea City. His family business took a significant hit, losing funds. He could no longer live a luxurious life. However, I wasn't satisfied. Both Victoria and Ethan were to blame, so why should Victoria walk away unscathed? I didn't have any dirt on Victoria, but I believed someone did. Those who were once closest to her must know something. I reached out to Ethan on Weibo, constantly sending him messages. Hey man, why is the cheater getting away while you take the blame? Don't let her get off easy. Mutual destruction is better than a one-sided victory. Generally, during someone's darkest hours, the one who consoles them has the best chance of influencing their emotions. As I expected, my persistence paid off. Ethan exposed Victoria's habit of sending him seductive photos to entice him. He revealed that she wasn't coerced into cheating, but did so willingly. He also shared photos of Victoria bullying girls during middle school. Normally, such revelations might not gain much attention. However, the Liu family's brand had just finished a commercial battle. Their competitors seized the opportunity, buying traffic and trending spots for Ethan's revelations. Thus, Victoria's victim facade shattered completely. Things escalated, and more people came forward to accuse Victoria. She had no chance of making a comeback. The Liu family, who had always favored their son over their daughter, quickly abandoned Victoria to protect their family name and business, shifting their focus to their son. Without her family's support, Victoria fell from grace. She spent her days drinking and partying, accepting any man who came her way. Victoria had always enjoyed partying and drinking, but now it became her downfall. One night, while intoxicated, Victoria was hit by a speeding car, injuring her leg. The doctor said she would be limping for the rest of her life. The traffic police checked the surveillance footage and found that Victoria had violated traffic rules, running a red light and jaywalking. The driver was not held responsible. A few days later, unexpected visitors arrived, Victoria's parents. I was somewhat familiar with them, having met them before. They always put on a friendly facade, but deep down, they looked down on my background and even helped Victoria with her act. Now, they were here to beg for my forgiveness. They said, "Sincere, we've always treated you well, haven't we?" I smiled and said, "Please get to the point." They continued, "Victoria indeed made a mistake and we've scolded her. But you see, her parents and our company are innocent. Can you issue a statement saying you've forgiven her and won't pursue this matter further?" I wanted to laugh. It takes a lot of nerve to make such a request. But I had a plan. With trembling hands, red eyes, and emotional tone, I said, "Uncle, Auntie, I know you've treated me well, and I don't want to drag you into this, but the damage this has caused me is unbearable. I'm really struggling and in pain. I treated her so well and she betrayed me. People online are calling me a fool, and I'm constantly harassed. I have nightmares and my friends suggest I see a therapist, but therapy is expensive and I can't afford it." They exchanged a glance and said, Yes, it's all Victoria's fault. Sincere, how about we compensate you? How much do you need? I acted scared and said, No, I don't want money. I wouldn't name an amount. Who knows if they'd accuse me of extortion. They asked, how about 200,000 yuan? I replied, this isn't something money can fix. They asked again, 400,000 yuan. I said, Auntie, my feelings for Victoria can't be measured in money. They continued, 500,000 yuan? I sighed. I'll just go see a therapist. I kept refusing, emphasizing my emotional trauma. The next day, my bank account had an additional 2 million yuan, labeled as voluntary compensation for emotional distress. Looking at the transaction notification, I smiled. Emily asked, Sincere, you don't need their money. The Yu family has plenty. I waved it off. That's different. This is what I'm owed. I never sought Victoria or Emily's family wealth, but what's rightfully mine, I won't refuse. Emily asked, What now? Will you forgive them? I replied, Of course, since I've taken their money, I should follow through. I'll record a forgiveness video. In the video, I appeared miserable, tears streaming down my face. Although I said I forgave her, my expression was one of despair, ensuring the audience would not forgive Victoria. Victoria, who used to cry and play the victim when I caught her partying, couldn't imagine her own trick being used against her. On Christmas Day, Emily and I walked hand in hand down the street. She stopped in front of a milk tea shop and said, That's where I first saw you. She told me she used to work there during her first year of college. She said, I wasn't feeling well that day and sat in the shop for a while. He brought me a cup of hot water and said it was fine not to buy anything. The boss had already left and I could rest. I laughed. I remember. I thought you couldn't afford milk tea. Who knew you were the Yu family's heiress? Emily tilted her head and said, Then you grabbed some snacks and fed the stray orange cat at the door. I still remember that scene. She said when she returned to the shop to introduce herself properly, I had already quit the part-time job. She found me again later, only to see me with Victoria. Emily said nothing then, just lowered her sad eyes and walked away alone. Over the past 2 years, she watched me with Victoria, watched Victoria act spoiled with me, but that wasn't the most painful part. The most painful part was that Victoria didn't cherish me. The person she valued and couldn't reach was treated like a fool. Emily struggled between morality and love. Finally, Victoria handed her an opportunity on a silver platter. This time, morality be damned. Even if she was scolded, Emily decided to give it a try. I teased Emily, anyone you set your sights on doesn't stand a chance. She replied, Yes. She looked at me seriously and said, So, will you take me with you to study abroad? I was surprised. How did you know I was planning to study abroad with the Liu family's compensation? I wanted to learn more and see the world. After receiving the money, I contacted my dream professor abroad, and he was interested in my college social practice. He agreed to accept me for the next semester. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hide this from you. I just didn't know how to tell you. The situation kept escalating, and more people came forward to expose Victoria. She had no chance of recovering. The Liu family, who always favored their son, quickly decided to protect their family's reputation and business, abandoning Victoria and focusing on their son. Without her family's support, Victoria fell from grace. She spent her days drinking and partying, accepting any man who approached her. She had always loved partying and drinking, but now it became her downfall. One night, while drunk, Victoria was hit by a speeding car and injured her leg. The doctor said she would be limping for the rest of her life. The traffic police reviewed the surveillance footage and found that Victoria had violated traffic rules by running a red light and jaywalking, so the driver was not held responsible. A few days later, Victoria's parents came to visit. I had met them before, but they always looked down on my background and even helped Victoria deceive me. Now, they were here to beg for my forgiveness. Sincere, we've always treated you well, haven't we? They said. I smiled and replied, Please get to the point. They continued, Victoria made a mistake and we've scolded her. But you see, her parents and our company are innocent. Can you issue a statement saying you've forgiven her and won't pursue this matter further? I wanted to laugh at their audacity but played along. With trembling hands, red eyes, and an emotional tone, I said, "Uncle, Auntie, I know you've treated me well and I don't want to drag you into this, but the damage this has caused me is unbearable. I'm really struggling and in pain. I treated her so well and she betrayed me. People online are calling me a fool and I'm constantly harassed. I have nightmares and my friends suggest I see a therapist, but therapy is expensive and I can't afford it." They exchanged a glance and said, Yes, it's all Victoria's fault. Sincere, how about we compensate you? How much do you need?" I acted scared and said, No, I don't want money. I wouldn't name an amount. Who knows if they'd accuse me of extortion. They asked, "How about $20,000? I replied, "This isn't something money can fix." They asked again, "How about $40,000? I said, "Auntie, my feelings for Victoria can't be measured in money." They continued. I sighed. "I'll just go see a therapist." I kept refusing, emphasizing my emotional trauma. The next day, my bank account had an additional, labeled as voluntary compensation for emotional distress. Looking at the transaction notification, I smiled. Emily asked, "Sincere, you don't need their money. The Yu family has plenty." I waved it off. "That's different. This is what I'm owed." I never sought Victoria or Emily's family wealth, but what's rightfully mine I won't refuse. Emily asked, "What now? Will you forgive them?" I replied, "Of course, since I've taken their money I should follow through. I'll record a forgiveness video." In the video I appeared miserable, tears streaming down my face. Although I said I forgave her, my expression was one of despair, ensuring the audience would not forgive Victoria. Victoria, who used to cry and play the victim when I caught her partying, couldn't imagine her own trick being used against her. On Christmas Day, Emily and I walked hand in hand down the street. She stopped in front of a milk tea shop and said, "That's where I first saw you." She told me she used to work there during her first year of college. She said, "I wasn't feeling well that day and sat in the shop for a while. You brought me a cup of hot water and said it was fine not to buy anything. The boss had already left and I could rest." I laughed. "I remember. I thought you couldn't afford milk tea. Who knew you were the Yu family's heiress?" Emily tilted her head and said, "Then you grabbed some snacks and fed the stray orange cat at the door. I still remember that scene." She said when she returned to the shop to introduce herself properly, I had already quit the part-time job. She found me again later, only to see me with Victoria. Emily said nothing then, just lowered her sad eyes and walked away alone. Over the past 2 years, she watched me with Victoria, watched Victoria act spoiled with me, but that wasn't the most painful part. The most painful part was that Victoria didn't cherish me. The person she valued and couldn't reach was treated like a fool. Emily struggled between morality and love. Finally, Victoria handed her an opportunity on a silver platter. This time, morality be damned. Even if she was scolded, Emily decided to give it a try. I teased Emily, "Anyone you set your sights on doesn't stand a chance." She replied, "Yes." She looked at me seriously and said, "So will you take me with you to study abroad?" I was surprised. "How did you know I was planning to study abroad with the Liu family's compensation?" I wanted to learn more and see the world. After receiving the money, I contacted my dream professor abroad, and he was interested in my college social practice. He agreed to accept me for the next semester. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hide this from you. I just didn't know how to tell you." She softly said, "Sincere, I want to understand you, to share my life with you. I want you to share your future plans with me without any hesitation because I want a significant place in your future." Emily held my hand and pressed it against her cheek. She said, "I know F country very well. I've been there many times. It's just a plane ticket away. If you don't mind, I'd like to be your study buddy." I thought for a moment and replied, "Is that appropriate?" She nodded proudly. "Of course it is. This way, if you can't get used to the food, you can have what I cook. You've been eating my cooking every day, haven't you? Or do you think I don't cook well?" I quickly said, No, it's just that I'm worried it might take up too much of your time." Emily shook her head. "Dad and Mom want me to go to F country to explore some new business opportunities for the family anyway." Before I could respond, she continued, It's settled then. She added, Sincere, would you like to meet my parents? I hesitated. Isn't it too soon? I want to make something of myself first. Memories of Victoria's parents' disdainful looks resurfaced. Emily reassured me. I've already mentioned you to them. They like you very much. Mom was afraid I wouldn't cook your favorite braised fish well, so she taught me herself. We shared stories about our families, holding hands as we walked through the first snow of the year. 9 months later, Emily and I boarded a flight to F country together. Both of our parents came to see us off. Emily's father repeatedly told me, Take good care of each other over there. If you need money, don't hesitate to ask me. The Yu family was indeed wealthy. Emily's mother bustled around. Got everything you need? Sincere, my daughter can be stubborn sometimes. If she does anything wrong, let me know. I'll fly to F country and straighten her out. Don't worry, just focus on your studies. I replied, Thank you, Uncle Auntie. Emily said, Mom, Dad, we're off. Today's weather is perfect for flying. I'm off to pursue a brighter future, with love by my side. Everything is just right. With the future ahead and love by our side, everything felt just right. May we never be bound by labels, be it frailty or pain. As long as we have courage in our hearts, we will shine.